Now, you may have seen it, you may have not, but one of the problems with running gas blowback magazines is not all the magazines are universal. I don't know if you caught the short video that I put up the other day, but here are the majority. And I say the majority because there's going to be some that I've missed or some that are hiding around somewhere. This is just purely gas mags. This doesn't include anything that's hybrid or HPA or anything like that. So the infinite kit mags aren't here. HPA adapters aren't here. This is just gas magazines, and they go all the way behind me here. Which, when I was sorting all this stuff out, I found that I really did have an issue, which all this stuff is stored in many different places. So when it comes to that game day, whether I want to go down to HC2 and run the gauntlet, or whether I want to just turn up to a normal skirmish day, is finding the mags and where they are. So I have had a couple of solutions to this problem. So the first one is a product from a company called MTM Case-Gard. Now, MTM Case-Gard, they do loads of ammo cans and stuff like that. This is their tactical magazine can, and you'll see it opens up like such, and you have 15 slots in there. These are targeted towards AR-15 mags or M4 mags, to which you'll find that they just slot in like that. They're not massively tight in there, but it just enables you to organize the mags. Now, these are foam inserts. That one's actually still stuck down a bit, so let me grab the other one. And I've had these for a while. These are just foam inserts that are stuck inside the case. So literally just a little bit of foam like that. The rest of the case is just empty plastic, but these over in the States, you can find them for about $35. Now, I bought these from, it was either from Brownells or I bought them from like a reloading company here in the UK. So they'll cost you anywhere between 40 and 50 pounds. So more expensive. Now, you can get these on Brownells right now. I think they're about 40 pounds. You do have to wait about 2 weeks for them to come over from the States and then them to send it to you. And there's obviously a postage charge incurred on that as well. But MTM Case-Gard do a lot of different cases. Now, they do one which is specifically designed for AK magazines. It's a little bit bigger than this. It holds 9 AK magazines in a slightly different format. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I'm looking on the MTM Case-Gard website, and that case is $40. Now, I thought, I'm going to head over to Brownells. I'm going to order one of them because that's going to be perfect for my AK mags. I've got like 8 Marui AK mags. That'd be perfect. I click onto the Brownells website, and that same case that costs $40 was £135, to which I was like, absolutely not. There's no reason for it to be 4 times the price. So I started looking at other alternatives. Now, I've done alternatives in the past. You may have seen them in the videos. What I'll do is I'll grab these cases out the way. They're very good if you can find them. The foam does come stuck down, but you'll see in this one it's come loose, but that's not a problem. And they can hold 15 mags. Now, the other plus side to these cases is, right, you might have 10 AR style mags like that, but you can also, let's say you take 2 pistol mags and you flip them around, you put them back to back like that, they'll actually take up 1 slot. So you can mix and match, and they do a dedicated case where you can store so many AR mags and so many pistol mags. But honestly, you don't need it. The other concern I have with these is the mags, unless you're storing them upright like this, you're balancing them on the feed lips. With a lot of the mags, you are doing that because it's the only way they'll go in. So they've done me well for a few years. Like I say, there's many different variants that they do. If you're in the US, you're going to find these really easy to get hold of. So the other thing, which is I did slightly pre-record a video where I was going to go through my new tactic to combat this problem in terms of storage, and then ended up never uploading it because the shadow foam that I bought for it was just taking too much time. But let me grab that case and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So this was my alternative. Now, these DeWalt Tough System 2.0 boxes, you can get them from most places in the UK, and Shadow Foam do proper inserts for these tool cases. And I went and got these cheap. It was like a deal where you bought like a stack of 3 or 4 of them from Screwfix. It was really inexpensive. You flip it open and you'll see it looks quite elaborate. Let me try and put it to the side there so you can see it. So the way I had this cut out, which took me a lot of time because there are 1, 2, 3, there's 4 layers of foam, and they come in 50mm sheets. So I had to, you basically have to go and cut this out by hand. So you lay out what you want, you go around, you cut with a sharp blade with a shadow foam, and then you pluck it out. And with these ones, I had to go entirely through 3 sheets and then stick it to a bottom sheet at the bottom there, which took a substantial amount of time. And I was using the top sheet to mark out the bottom sheets, and eventually as it went down, it got squiffed up because you're doing it by hand. But I could store 15 AR mags, which is what I've been using for my MWS mags for some time now, because I do have 15 in total with the P mags. So I can whack all them in there. It gives me 4 slots for pistol mags, which if you're using any type of double stack mag, they'll sit in there just like that. Or if you're using 1911 mags, you can actually fit 2 in like that. And then I took it one step further because I had all this empty space here, and I was like, right, I'm going to cut out 2 slots for propane cans, so I can put 2 propane cans in there. I can put 2 propane adapters, all my mags. And as good as this is, and as fancy as it does look, it really does look the part when you go into your safe zone and you open this thing up. It looks fantastic. It's making carrying all this stuff much bigger and boxier. So in terms of getting it in and out of the car and things like that, it's a bit more of a hassle. So it kind of fixed the problem and gave me a new one. So I was looking at alternative things, and I have looked for modular storage applications for some time now, and I've tried a few things and probably wasted a lot of money on things that didn't work and ended up just throwing it away. And then it got to me talking about collection. People wanted to see videos of the collection, so I started getting all the gas mags out. Well, let's get the gas mags sorted first before we get onto the rifles. And then I laid it all out, and this has been in my living room for 2 days now because I've been scratching my head thinking, well, how am I going to store this? I don't really just want to go upstairs and chuck it back into a box. All this got taken out of 2 of those DeWalt toolboxes, and when you fill one of those DeWalt toolboxes just by placing them in the top, it makes the thing so freaking heavy you can't even pick it up. So I needed to find a solution, and as good as these are, for us in the UK, they're more difficult to get hold of and they're expensive. So I did a bit of research and found that this case that ATM Case-Gard use is like an AC11, I think they call it, which you can buy this exact same toolbox without the insert for 20 to 25 pounds. And I found a place on Amazon, a place in the UK, they were selling them for 20 to 25 pounds. That's exactly what I did. And I basically just bought a bunch that you could get them in green or like bright orange. I was going to get them in bright orange to start with, but then voila, you open it like that. Now I don't know if you'll be able to see this because of the light, but no, you're not going to be able to see that at all. But basically all I've done is, this was like a hard plastic before, and I've just lined it with foam. So hopefully you can see that there. So it's just lined with the same foam that I use for the suppressors, because I had a load of offcuts. I thought, oh, what better to make use of a load of scrap offcuts than to line the bottom so it's not quite as plastically on the bottom as these. So, right, objective number 1 sorted. I've found the boxes. So I've got 4 of these boxes. And then whilst looking at that same store on Amazon, I think it was called Hanam Reloading or something like that, I found this. And this was a 5-can ammo crate. So it comes with a tray that you can carry, and it comes with these smaller boxes. And I think these are AC15 is the code for them. Again, they come completely empty, but all I've done is again stuck a liner of foam at the bottom there. And I thought these would be perfect for pistol mags. So I can store my pistol mags in here. I can maybe label up on the front what's there. They stack. And if I do get another one, these trays that you carry them in will stack on top as well. So that's going to be perfect for the smaller stuff. But I still had a problem. How am I actually going to organize this stuff in the cases? And that's when I decided, right, I bought so much of this shadow foam sheeting for all my DeWalt toolboxes that I ended up never using. Why don't I just chop that up and create my own tactical magazine cans out of MTM Case-Gard cases, but not having to spend another £15 on top of what these cost and you know, having the objective of trying to get them, because a lot of places don't have them in stock. So I moved to shadow foam, and this is one that I cut out by hand. So this is just using the shadow foam technique where you get a template. What I did is I just went on the laser cutter and I cut out these little cardboard templates. So I measured this out, CAD'd it up, did a DXF file, tried to maximize the amount of, like in this case, the pistol mags that I could do. Took the shadow foam, placed a template on the shadow foam, cut this out, and then having to hold that in place to mark out the top. And then what you'll see is it's not the straightest because it is a difficult thing to do and they kind of taper off. So I thought, well, why am I bothering cutting out templates on the laser and then cutting these out by hand, which took a long time? Why don't I just cut the foam out on the laser as well? And you can see how much cleaner that is. So I took all these offcuts. Some are better than others. One, I'd had something stored on it in a hot room, so it kind of distorted the foam, but for an insert, it's still absolutely fine. I have got some left over, so I can always replace that. So all I'm going to do now, I'm trying to find which one was the rough one here. I take the mini case that I've foam lined, and these just sit inside the case like that. And we can very easily insert all these. It took a bit of time because the shadow foam sheeting is so thick at 50mm that you need to cut it out on the laser in a way where you can do it in good time, get an accurate result, but without setting fire to the foam or melting it beyond use. So cut all these out. I know this is going to be a long video. I'm just trying to be as comprehensive as possible because I've no doubt I'm going to get a lot of questions about this. So if I can try and include it all in the same video, then happy days. So I've got my 5 pistol mag boxes. They all go into this little tray. I could pick up another one of these trays if I need to. Now this 5 ammo can tray with the tray itself on Amazon was £59, which I thought wasn't really too expensive at all, especially when you look at stuff like pelly cases and such. So that led me onto the big ones. So again, take out the insert that was out already, just measured it up, came up with a template, and then ended up not using the template because I cut it out on the laser. Now the problem with the laser is that the way lasers focus, they don't just focus in a straight beam all the way through. It's like a cone. It will come down to the focus point, then it tapers out at the bottom. So the really nice sharp cut you're going to get at the top, what you'll find is it will sort of stretch out at the bottom, which it doesn't really matter for what you want it for. But then I take these inserts. They're not quite as tall as the original ones, but I'm just using what I've got, so we're saving money there. And like I say, I bought 4 of these things. And we just take the insert. Again, you can see some of them are a little bit bent because I think I stacked up the foam in the conservatory where we've had this massive heat wave. And there was a bag or something solid on the top of them, and with the heat it just sort of compressed the foam down. I've tried to revive it with a heat gun, but it's just not going to work. So, and like I say, this is more of like a storage option compared to, I'm not going to be carrying 6 of these cases to a game day. It's not going to happen like that. But if, when these are stored away in the gun room, I can have a box that's just for KWA mags, or I can have a box that's just for SMG mags or Guns Modified P mags or anything like that. To be honest with you, it's probably going to make sense slightly to keep the DeWalt box for the MWSs because it's kind of catered to it, and it would just be a massive waste of money sort of throwing that system away. But if I'm taking another gun that's not an MWS and I want to take, I don't know, all the WeldPro stuff or the AK mags, because the AK mags will fit in these trays. They go in a bit weird like that, but they will fit. So that's a solution I'm going to use. I've now got to organise all this, which I'm going to spare you the hassle of looking through that, but I'll put all this away in all these cases, and then I'll come back a little bit later on and I'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully good. Okay, not everything went to plan, but it's fixed, I'd say 90% of the issue. So first of all, we've got all our pistol mag boxes, which you'll see has plenty of storage. So we've got Marui 17 mags, Maxim 9, TTI TP22, PTS Zev, that's an AAP mag, Glock 19, Staccato, FN 509. Some of the mags have these bits that stick out, which makes it a little bit more difficult with the way that I've done them. Yes, you could have them set out much better if you reduce the amount that they would take, but I was trying to maximize it. To be honest, I've pushed it to the edge. But HK45, normal USP, SMP, VFC, 1911 M45, USP compact, same issue with those lips, 2 AAP mags with extenders. I've just slipped into the end there. I've got a couple of spaces here and there. The only magazines I couldn't get in there were the FNX 45 mags for the VFC, because they're just far too big. But now I've got this stacked system of storage. Right, I'm taking my, let's say I'm taking my Glock 17 and grab this out. It's got all my Glock 17 mags in there, 8 in storage. I've got the 19 mags in here as well, so I could always chop and change these around. I was just trying to fit them into a format where they're most best organized, like that one. It's all Glock style mags and they all just slip in there and away we go. So I've got all these cases with my magazines in. However, I can pick them up and move them around and store them in whatever room really easy. I can always do another set and have them stack, but I think if I'm having any more pistol mags than that, I might go a bit mad. This is where we ran into a bit more of an issue. So this one here, there's a bit of mix and match in here. So I've got the FNX 45 mags in here just because they wouldn't fit in the pistol ones. MP7, Marui AKM, which only just about go in. You have to mount them on the right hand side so they don't hit the handle. So those only just about went in. This is the Wellpro AK12, CGS, VFC G36 mags. They all go in there perfectly. The Wellpro AK mags, again, I have to sit on the right hand side because it has to clear the little extrusion there for the handle. Marui, 15 MWS mags in there, nice and easy. Anything AR style is going to be an absolute dream to put in these cases. KBBR box, LM4s, AUG, and PTS LM4 EPM mag, and then just the 3 salvo mags in there, or double eagle MWS mag. So that's nice and good as well. And then the problem that I ran into was with the SMGs. Not so much these small mags. Now I could store them pretty easy. MP9, MPX, Wellpro, PPK20, Uzi mags, APC 9K mags, MP9 mags. They're just far too tall. I know that sounds daft because they don't really seem that much bigger than an M4 mag, but they're just so tall that they hit the lids. So I'm either going to have to see if MTM Case-Gard do a deeper box. If they do a deeper box, then I'll just do a purely SMG case. The other issue was I haven't stored the 308 mags yet, and by 308 I mean, you know, XM5 and the G3 mags, because obviously they're too big for the inserts that I've done. That being said, I could very easily go into the file, change the spacing of the cutouts and just have a 308 box. That's probably what I'll do. Even with this many cases, as you can see, I've already maximized all of them. But the only magazines I haven't stored, which to be honest with you, I could whack them in here for now. I've got the drum mags in there as well. And this is, like I say, I'm not planning to take them to games like this, but I can just put them in the room, store them. The great thing about these is they stack. So they stack on top of each other. They can be placed up against a back wall in your garage or whatever, wherever you store them. And just, right, I want to get to my CGS mags, right? I can go in there, pull my 5 CGS mags out, put them in my plate carrier or my kit bag or whatever. And this just stops me having loose gear all over the place, because with the amount of stuff that I have, trying to find a magazine when you want it is very much a difficult task. I know this isn't a super exciting video. A lot of people are going to get bored. I'm not expecting viewership on this one, but if you want a nice way to just organize and store your magazines like this, then you do have options, because every time this case gets seen in a short video or one of the long form videos, people always say, what case is that? So MTM Case-Gard, and Case-Gard is spelt without the U. These are just the normal AS or AC11 ammo cans. The small ones are the AC15s. If you're lucky, you can go get this stuff on Amazon. If you're even luckier and you can find the ones that come with the inserts, then happy days. Even if you just use them empty. You could use metal ammo cans, but they're far heavier and they don't quite stack as nice as what these do. So that's my mag storage solution. A weird video for you, I know, but hopefully it's helped some of you or answered some questions. Even though I've done this video, there's going to be people asking on every single non-related video what cases these are. So it's on the channel now. Thanks for tuning in as always. And much more exciting stuff to come. Like the video and subscribe if it's helped you in any way. Comment down below if it's helped you in any way. Comment down below if you use these cases yourself and you, just like me, happen to stumble across them. And it's a great storage solution. So thanks very much for watching as always. And from me, we'll be seeing you in the next video.